You are now tuned in to Hollywood Wayz with Doug and Breezy. Oh, hey Ted.
All right, welcome to Hollywood Wayz.
Hollywood Wayz.
I'm Doug Ellen.
Breezy.
Ted Foxman in the booth.
Back at it.
What's going on? I want to tell you about my week a little bit because it was crazy. Because, you know what, this week it was like my 3-year anniversary with my girlfriend and her birthday. It's like, I mean,
a cluster.
A cluster of coming up with gift ideas and entertaining. It's just, I'm getting old. It's not easy.
How far apart was the anniversary and her birthday?
4 days. And
wow, yeah.
And let me tell you something. I don't know. The world, I know right now people are saying like money is tight for people and this and that. But I wanted to get her something nice. I wanted to get her a nice Chanel bag. But I go and I'm like, I've made the decision. I know the exact bag. And I get to the Chanel store and I'm like, hey. And they're like, do you have an appointment? I'm like,
don't care how much money you got.
An appointment?
Yeah.
I'm like, why do I need an appointment? They're like, you need an appointment. I'm like, but I know what my bag is. Can I just give you the card and you just wrap it up? They're like, no.
But to the defense of Chanel and all of these high-end stores are doing appointments, when these scams of the PPP loans and all this stuff hit, these stores got hit hard. Oh. So now, I mean, even Cartier, you need an appointment. There's one salesperson per, human. Yeah. Exactly. They have to keep a close monitor. These people were coming to Rodeo. They were stealing stuff, running out with things. So,
this
they
is
got to
why
protect.
Breezy is so awesome because I've been angry for 4 days that Chanel doesn't want to take my money, and now you've given me a very smart, thoughtful
honestly,
reason.
when there was so much access and, there were some people coming from different areas that had money that they didn't have before, it made places like Beverly Hills a little scary, a little sketchy. Like, me and Chris went there one day, and there was so many people. I'm talking about pants sagging. It just looked like there wasn't a gun far. And I said, you know what? Next time. Like, I'm not walking down Rodeo it's flooded with people, and it's never like that.
No.
It's never like that. And nothing's on sale on Rodeo. Believe that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So
I got it.
And I know that
my credit card bounced.
Nothing's even
bag.
for
but
sale, apparently.
Chanel, along with a number of other stores, actually had signs up that said, this form of payment is not welcome here. Because it was bringing just,
the wrong element,
the wrong vibe to the vibe.
God,
what
incredible explanation.
It was not personal.
Yeah.
So I'm just.
I take everything personally, which,
of
by the way, my therapist has been telling me for 30 years. Don't take things personally. Your
and
life
for
will
30
be so
years
much
you
better.
haven't listened.
I haven't listened to a word they said. I was ready to burn down the Chanel store. I was like, you won't take my money? I mean, it took me days. Anyways, great. My girl was so happy. You would have thought I gave her the greatest thing ever. And it's just a fucking bag that you put things in.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Girls love that shit. I mean, Chris would be ecstatic.
So you're going to get her one now?
I'm not. Nope, not doing it.
All right, well, we got some good stuff today because, senior producer Ted Foxman has brought in Chef Michael Furioli from one of my favorite restaurants,
Ted
Olivetta.
is pulling out all the stops.
He is doing it.
I love it.
And by the way, no one really understands Ted. He's not like some scrub producer. This is like a really successful businessman who has like 30 businesses, but he enjoys this, right, Ted? This is fun.
I love it.
He really loves Breezy, I think.
Ted loves making things happen.
He does.
That's what I like about. He loves seeing shit through, and there's you can't have a more important person.
Yeah, and everybody should do that. And by the way, I'm bringing a person who likes to see things through. After Michael Furioli comes on, we're going to talk Wolf of Wall Street, and then my old friend, the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, will be with us. So we'll be right back.
I think you're rubbing this Friends thing in my face.
Breezy and Doug's Daily Dish.
All right, welcome back, Hollywood Wayz, and we're talking our food meal of the week, which we're still trying to figure out this segment, but Breezy, Senior Foxman, is delivering goods. So he brought Chef Michael Furioli, who, is the chef at Olivetta, which is one of the hot places in town, and Isima, which is also, you like how I pronounced it properly?
Where are these at? These restaurants are new to me, so where are they at?
We're both on Melrose. Mm-hmm. Olivetta's at 9010 Melrose, and Isim is actually at Lapeer, just around the corner. So walking distance. West Hollywood, right.
This sounds fancy.
Oh, these are
is
good.
This Italian cuisine?
It is Italian, Isima as well?
Yeah, Isim is more coastal European. Yeah, spans a little broader range,
But these are like, so Breezy, just so you know, like right before the pandemic happens, Olivetta opens, and it's the hottest place in town, along with Craig's probably. It's right next door, and they're huge. Everybody's going, all the celebrities are going, and then this happens to you, and that must have been pretty horrible.
Yeah, devastating.
COVID happens.
Yeah.
Right. Like 2 months in.
Yeah.
3 months in.
Of the opening.
Yeah.
Yeah. detrimental for a lot
So
of
do you think
businesses.
like your life is over? What's going on there?
It was an emotional roller coaster. I mean, we came out of the gates and it was just gangbusters, and we were actually, we couldn't believe we just knocked it out of the park, thanks to all of our support. And then all of a sudden one day it was just gone. I remember being at the restaurant on a Saturday night and there was word, the restaurants are going to shut down or slow down, and the place was packed. And I was like, we're going to be the place that makes it. I think Melrose was, you could see all the way down Melrose, not a car or a person on the street, which was, you'd never see that. I actually took some pictures of it. It's eerie. But still, the place was jumping. And I was like, you know what? We're going to be the place that
stays
makes it.
afloat.
We have a bunch of reservations tomorrow on Sunday. We're going to be packed on Sunday. And then throughout Saturday night, you saw the Sunday reservations drop from like hundreds to 150. And all of a sudden, it was like, oh, we have no reservation. And then we were closed on Monday.
Jesus.
Just like that.
And Michael, you're a Long Island guy like me.
Yeah.
And you come out to Hollywood. You're not even trained in culinary arts. Like
No.
So why do you come to Hollywood? Tell me about that.
Funny story. I was working in restaurants. I was cooking. I'd cooked all over the country. I was living in Miami at the time, actually. And I knew I wanted to make a change, but I was actually a crazy Entourage fan.
Oh, look at that, Breezy.
Oh, look at what?
Yeah, I mean, M.
I didn't set that up at all, by the way.
Yeah,
No.
you did. You knew something.
I was crazy into Entourage, and that's how I started to kind of see what that's my vision of LA. What I thought about it. It used to be Baywatch, right?
Right.
And then it came, and then I started watching Entourage. Where I was like, oh, this is LA. These guys were my age. I was like 28 or 29 at the time. I think they were too in the show anyway. And somebody offered me a job out here. And normally, years before that, I would have never. When you're from New York or Long Island, LA has kind of like a stigma. It's like the other coast, and New York's better and all that. But by this time, I had been watching Entourage for a couple seasons, and I was like, someone offered me a job. I was like, fuck it, I'll take it. I came out here sight unseen.
Hopefully, I live life like Entourage.
So and
Not yet.
How does the reality compare to what you saw on the show?
I mean, I don't eat at Earth Cafe and go to Villa every night. I can tell you that. At the time, I thought maybe. I was like, I lived in the neighborhood. I lived in West Hollywood, right on West Knoll, right by Earth Cafe and behind the Pacific Design Center.
Yeah.
And I thought that, maybe there'd be some semblance of that. But I got here, I started working, I started grinding, and 16 years later, I'm still just grinding. There's no.
And how do you go? You said you were washing dishes. How do you learn how to cook on your own and get into this?
Yeah, I mean, I was washing dishes. When I was a kid, my first job, my dad was like, "You got to get a job." I was like 12 or 13 years old, so I worked at a deli up the road. So I got a little experience there. And then the next summer, my dad hooked me up with a friend of his who worked on a meat truck. So I was like the delivery boy. We'd get up on Long Island at like 4:00 in the morning. Drive into Manhattan from it's like an hour and a half from where I grew up. Go to the meatpacking district, which then was actually a meatpacking district. Go to all the butcher shops, pick up all the meat, and then come back to Long Island and drop off the meat at the restaurant. So at like 13 years old, I was going in the back door of restaurants, and it's not like today. Like restaurants were like fucking pirate ships at the time.
Yeah.
You go in, like these guys are drinking, smoking, cursing, but always making me food, and I was amazed. I was like, this is cool. I really want to do this. So my brother was a waiter. He got me a job as a dishwasher, and I started washing dishes. That was when I was a freshman in high school. I graduated in 94. So just when I came out of high school, I was a lit major. I wanted to write. I thought I wanted to write.
It's terrible. I'd rather cook.
Doug thought he
now
wanted to write too.
now that I hear your
You'd
stories,
rather.
I'm like, oof. But it's similar. The stress and the anxiety sound very similar.
Yeah.
You're putting out something that you're immediately critiqued on. No matter how hard you worked on it, people can just shit on it right away. And, you're
And
like,
you
"Oh, fuck."
brought dish of the week. One of my favorite things is bolognese. So I am I like to think I'm a connoisseur, and I'm also a big critic of it. And this was, I've eaten it obviously at your restaurant. It's excellent. This was excellent, which we ate at 10 a.m. bolognese. But tell me about that dish.
It's become probably one of the more popular dishes in the restaurant. I know Ted's a huge fan of it. When he called me yesterday, he said, what do you want to cook? And I started telling him, I could do this and that, and maybe this salad. And he was like, yeah, great. Can you just bring the bolognese? I was like, all right.
10 a.m.
Awesome.
bolognese.
Yeah.
I think bolognese in the morning is good. What'd you
I've
think?
honestly never had bolognese that early in the morning.
What'd you think? How you feeling?
I liked it.
Yeah, I thought I got my day going right. It's more. I think it's better than coffee. A little, what
Better
do we
than
have?
your bagels?
Fusilli.
It's better than your bagels?
I like if I had to choose bagel in the morning. Fusilli. Was it fusilli?
Radiator.
Sorry, what?
It's called radiator. It means radiator, literally. It looks like a
What
little,
a fast
little
one.
radiator.
I usually know my pastas too. I don't think I know
No.
that one. So it was excellent, and thank you for bringing.
It was
that.
very good.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Very
so,
good.
What else, Ted? You got anything you want to?
And it just to throw this in, it's usually a hard no for me to have anything for dinner in the morning. It's usually a hard no. I have to have breakfast.
Yeah,
but
most people.
you change that for
All right,
me.
Cool.
So it's, by the way, Breezy's going to be 200 pounds the next time you
week
see
I'll
her.
bring spaghetti and
Yeah,
meatballs.
right. Yeah, right.
Love
That's
it.
the thing. I can't do that red sauce a lot. Do you have anything with a white sauce on that menu?
Of course.
What?
Yeah. What's that?
What are you?
You got to come down. You got to come down and check out the restaurant.
Hopefully Doug will take
bring
me.
all you guys down
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
See, I love the way you said that, Ted.
By the way, it was even
Ted
better. I was about to
just
say,
included me. Says it all the time.
I'll
Yeah,
take you
I
down.
don't start selectively naming who's going to come.
And
to
I
the
appreciate
meal.
that.
I
I
just say I'm
appreciate
going to
that.
bring you
The
guys all
best
down
thing
there.
Ted said though is he's buying, so you're invited, Breezy, and bring Chris and your friends.
I'm
and
bringing
everybody.
my whole family.
Yeah, bring
we
Diego.
want,
Oh,
hey,
we
wait,
want
hang on a
pasta.
I love it. Well, Michael, thank you for coming in. I know it was short and sweet. Michael had to wait around because we had a real long interview that we will have coming up with Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. So we'll be back. All right, welcome back, Hollywood Wayz. Chef Michael Fiorelli from Olivetta and Isama just brought us some food, and I'm full, and now I need a nap. How about you?
No.
Okay, good. Well, I want to talk before we bring on Jordan Belfort. All right, so Wolf of Wall Street came out in 2013, was nominated, I think, for 5 Oscars, but director, movie, Leo, who won a Golden Globe, and I think it made something. It's Martin Scorsese's most successful movie financially.
$392 million in just box office.
And Breezy,
Wow.
here's a little interesting thing, because it's a movie about thieves, was financed by a thief. Jolo, who is this Indonesian criminal, I guess, who stole all this money from the Indonesian people. We're talking billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And I had personal contact with him, but I have no money. But he is on the lam. As far as I know, I think he's still on the lam. But he financed this movie, which is by far Scorsese's biggest budget also. So
How did that happen?
$100 million.
How did he get in the play?
to steal all that money?
No,
Or-
how did he get in the play to financing this film?
So this was a guy, and I need to look it up, who he was dating. Was it?
I think he had
He
this,
was dating a guy?
No, he was in charge
No.
of the Sovereign Wealth Fund, and I don't even remember if it was Indonesia or not. I think it was, but
It was Indonesia, but he was.
they gave him billions of dollars, and he was just throwing it around town.
and he was obsessed with Hollywood
Oh,
and
got it.
stars, and he started dating. God, it's driving me
That
crazy.
usually happens.
But
He sent. I can't remember who he sent. He sent like a $2 million clear acrylic piano to somebody.
yeah, there were a bunch of gifts that had to be returned that he had given, including to DiCaprio himself. So it's an interesting story that it goes behind the scenes of that type of information. So
Wow.
Um,
The things you don't know.
yeah.
Hollywood doesn't tell you these things.
So Wolf of Wall Street just has a lot of personal connections to me because I know Jordan Belfort my whole life, A. And B, he brought me the book years before the movie got made, and I was too stupid to understand that it was a comedy because I told Jordan he's a fucking animal and people are going to hate his guts, and I just didn't see it, and Martin Scorsese is a genius. So did you guys get a chance to look at this movie, which I know you've seen, but...
Wolf of Wall Street is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Oh, I like that you say
I'm
that.
putting that in my top.
And what do you see it as, Breezy? Do you see it as a comedy, as a drama? How does it hit you?
I see it as all of those things. I think Jonah Hill was completely hilarious to me.
So fun.
I think Leonardo was hilarious to me as well in times. You know what I mean? But I love the pace of that movie. It was just going. And I like things like that. It wasn't slow.
It's got the Goodfellas thing, and what we'll talk to Jordan a little bit about is that, Goodfellas is really like this movie that sucks you into this world that you go, oh, I want to be a part of. And then at the end of it, it's a morality play, and you go, okay, you're going to die or you're going to go to jail.
Right.
But
How it always ends.
Wolf of Wall Street doesn't do that. You
No.
can fucking steal and you can rob and you go to jail, you play tennis, and you come out, and life is great. So
You're a motivational
No
speaker.
pickleball in jail.
well, they need pickleball in jail, by the way. Then jail would really. I could go to
Doug
jail
will
if there was-
commit a
I would-
crime.
by the way, I would love
You
that.
know what? I'm getting locked up. I got to play this guy. They say he's the best. He's over at Pennsylvania
I mean,
Federal.
that would be
It's a
incredible.
great comedy idea.
Yeah.
Getting thrown in jail on purpose to beat the best pickleball player. In
That
jail.
would be funny. So, what was your favorite scene? Just because we're gonna bring on Jordan in a minute, but like, what was where'd you laugh the most at this
I
movie?
laughed the most when they were in the elevator going up, having sex, and everybody could see
Right.
them. It was like,
Right.
what the hell is going on? There was so many funny movies in that. I mean, so many funny moments in that movie for me.
You know, when he's driving in the Quaaludes, which it's so nuts to me, this story, because, and I'll talk to Jordan, but Jordan and I, one of our best friends, who my friend Barry Gesser passed away, he was a Quaalude machine, and I was
Can
5
we
years
stop
younger
at
than him.
Quaalude? What is a I don't really hear about them these days. So what is a Quaalude?
So Quaaludes have been gone for at least 20 years. And I don't ever want to encourage or ever sell people on drugs. I only did one once in my life. It was the greatest drug that I can imagine because what it was like
the whole
drinking.
movie ran on Quaaludes.
It was like
It
drinking.
looked like a good time.
It was like drinking a case of beer without feeling full, without getting nauseous, without being unconscious. Now, what they do in the movie is they do too many of them and they drink as well, which then
Bad combo.
you wake up and you have no idea what happened. But when you took one, which I did the one time I did, you just loved everybody.
So
Life
was this like
great.
an ecstasy?
I would say it was like ecstasy without those bad effects either, because this was a drug that was a legal drug that was given as a prescription
It was a
painkiller.
pill. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Got
it,
it.
so it wasn't like this thing that was made in a lab and you didn't know what you were getting. It was a drug that,
Big pharma.
yeah, that was allegedly not going to kill you, but what happened is people were abusing it like Jordan and ruined it for the rest of us. So we're going to have to talk about that. But the scene where he did that, my entire childhood, I know the story of my friend Barry who got pulled over, and the cop said, do you know how fast you were going? And he was like, I don't know, 70, 80. Like, no. He's like, I don't know, 90, 100. He's like, no. He's like, you were doing 10 miles an hour in the left-hand lane on the freeway. So So I had always heard this. So when I go to the screening of Wolf of Wall Street with Jordan and Barry, that's how I saw this movie before it came out. And they showed that scene of him on the Quaaludes driving. I honestly don't think I've ever laughed harder in a movie theater ever. And I wondered at the time whether it was just because I knew the personal stories of these guys or what. But, I mean, it was hilarious, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there were so many funny moments in that movie. And I think it's all credited to the drugs. Nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah. And what do you think about the idea, though, of just society? And I don't like to make any statements, but the movie, at the end of the day, is wish fulfillment for bad behavior of young men. And I think most people who saw that movie that I see around, they love it. Like frat guys, and it's just like, I want to be that guy. So I'm not sure it gave the message they wanted. But
I don't think it did, but there was so much energy, for these guys to be so young and to still be professional. You know what I mean? I mean, they were doing a thing.
Yeah.
They weren't working at Burger King.
Yeah.
Like on the stock market.
Yeah, and I think at the time,
making things happen.
And I think at the time, because I knew a lot of people who worked with Jordan, at the time there was a moment where they thought they were actually like really being successful, smart guys who were like, we're learning what the stock market is, and then they crossed that line at some point, which we'll talk to Jordan. So I'm excited for that.
That Steve Madden deal that they did, he's still actively involved in that? Do you know?
Jordan now?
Yeah.
I don't think Jordan's involved with Steve Madden, but Steve Madden's,
he doesn't
bigger than ever.
Own a piece of that or anything?
I don't think he does.
Possibility.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we will come back with the real Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort.
Oh.
Welcome back, Hollywood Wayz, longtime friend. I saw a screening of Wolf of Wall Street with him before it actually was released, and he gave me the book years before, and was too dumb to understand how good this movie could be. But Jordan Belfort, what's happening?
I'm doing great. I'm really happy, excited to be here with your new co-host, Breezy, because I've been on your podcast, Victory, right?
Yep.
But this is awesome, by the way. I love what you guys are doing. So I want you can ask me anything today because I'm ready. I'm awake. I'm ready to roll here.
Had some good pasta.
Yeah, I had some amazing pasta. Some well-fed. You fed me.
What do you think about that? We serve bolognese. Chef Michael Fiorelli. We bring in some bolognese at 10 a.m. Is that weird or no?
No, it was the best bolognese I've ever had, French. So anyone that's considering where do you want to get bolognese, Olivetti, right?
Olivetta, I can't pronounce it. Isima. I'm
going to actually kidnap him for the recipe later. It was that good. No, seriously, it was really good. And I like eating pasta. It's a breakfast, lunch, and dinner thing. And also,
I don't think there's any reason it can't be.
Best thing is that it wasn't. I hate pasta that's too hot. It was like the right temperature.
Exactly,
Very important.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take you to the restaurant so we can actually eat it fresh right out. But
Love it.
Anyway, it was great. So life is good. You're married. Everything's great with you.
I am very fortunate because my life right now is sometimes you can say, what would you change? I would change probably nothing right now in my life. I really am happy. Got a great wife. Going back and forth. I'm spending most of my time now in Miami, about 90%. A little bit in LA here and there. So, it's great to be here. So let's roll.
I want to talk to you about really the second act of your life, which I think is amazing and remarkable and really kind of traces the time that social media comes out. And you get this movie going, which I know how hard you worked. You were on the Entourage set going to Connolly like, is Leo doing my movie or what? And you made this thing. You did. You really made this thing happen. And I think what's incredible when I watched it last night, the first line of the movie is, "Hi, I'm Jordan Belfort." And you couldn't ask for a more of a calling card to help you resurrect your life. And I want to know, where are you at in 2013 when this movie comes out? Where is life, both financially, in your head, and everything?
It's a great question. So I'm going to tell you a phenomenal story. When I wrote the book, it was 2005 when I started. Finished it in 2006, right? Took about 7 edits to get it right. Finally, when the book was fully edited, it was slipped to Leo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, and Mark Wahlberg. Now, at the time, Wahlberg wasn't as big a star. Clooney was a bit old, so it came down to Leo and Brad, and there was a bidding war between those two, and each side said, whatever he pays you, I'll pay you 10% more, and up and up and up it went. And finally, Leo's like, I got Scorsese to come on board, and I'm like, well, there you go.
Done
Right?
That'll
deal.
work.
Done deal.
Right? And also, I always loved Leo. Like, I always knew Leo was the right person, but with Scorsese, it was a no-brainer, so I sold it to Leo and Marty at Warner. Terry Winter is a brilliant writer. He goes out and he pens the first draft, and it's like unfucking believable. It's like I'm holy crap, it's amazing, right? It's basically the movie that you saw. It was that good. Everyone reads the script like, oh my God, it's like almost perfect. It just needs like, maybe 1 or 2 minor passes, but it's unbelievable, right? So Warner's gets the script. They love it. They green light the movie. They rent the sound stages. They're going to sink a yacht in Mexico. And then the writer's strike hits.
Wow.
And they can't polish the script. Everyone puts their pens down. And Leo and Marty are stuck. And they go wait and do Shutter Island instead. And the window closes. And, the thing with Marty is, while he's the most talented, amazing director out there, right? He's slow. And he lives with the project for years. So I had this like a quagmire where Marty was attached, and no one's going to try to take it from Marty because it's Marty, right? But he's also dancing at 1,000 weddings. So it was Leo's passion project. Like Leo was the one that was driving it, right? And I was devastated when this happened. Like, it got, I thought, oh my God, I thought at that moment in 2000, like, what a comeback. I write this book, it gets made. What's the chances? Like, it's so hard. You know how hard it is to get a movie made.
I can't get anything made.
It's very hard. So many things have to line up, right? So, and then it gets canceled at the last second, and I'm devastated. Leo swears to me, I promise you, I'm going to get this done. Just have patience, right? So the years go by. 2008, the GFC, the global financial crisis hits. It's impossible to make money now. I'm writing another book now, and I can't even sell it. You couldn't sell anything for $1 back then because no one had money, right?
And where are your finances at
broke.
this moment? Right.
I have no money.
Counting on that movie.
Yeah, I was a writer, and I don't love to write. I'm proficient at it, but I don't enjoy it. It's very difficult for me to write.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, right. And I'm trying to work on this book, and no one is buying anything. So I have no money, and I said to my then wife, I'm like, I hate writing. I love speaking. Let me become a speaker. So we made that decision. I'll never forget. I called my book agent. I said, hey, I want to become a speaker. And he says, that's a great idea. You just got to wait till the movie comes out. Then they'll come for you. And I remember, I was like, fuck you. I was like wait till they come for me. It's like, it goes against everything I believe about success, life, about, being the master of your own destiny. I say, fuck that. I'm going to go out there and make it happen without a movie. So I started off giving free speeches at colleges. And then I had my first booking for a few $1,000s. And then I wasn't teaching sales yet because I had this sort of negative anchor, like, last time I taught all these salespeople, they went and raped and pillaged the village. I can't do it again. And then finally, I switched. Like, I did this little favor for a friend and taught a sales force how to close. And he taped it. People saw the footage, and people started booking me.
Social media.
Right.
So they liked you,
Yeah.
even before this movie comes out.
So what happened was I built this really very, very large business around training salespeople and doing public seminars around the world. And I made a lot of money. Then I started getting into some deals in the mining sector, and I know banking. 4 years went by. I was pretty much back on top now. I made a lot of money again, living in a beautiful. When Leo first came to my house, I was in a tiny apartment, in Marina, by Marina Del Rey. Right?
When did you get out of jail again?
2005, right before Halloween Day, 2005. Right.
Right.
I went in July.
Did you keep your prison garb on for a costume, or what did you do?
Yeah, I haven't done that. I got to do that one day. I still remember my number, 5621305. Everyone remember this? Everyone remembers their prison number, right? So anyway, so now I really was doing very well. And I moved into a massive house on the water in Manhattan Beach. So I'm now on the ocean again, a massive mansion, right? And Leo, I don't know what, calls me. Buddy, it's like 2011 now. It's 4.5 years later. Guess what? We're done. Marty's on board. We got the money lined up.
Ready to go.
All right, ready to go. I'm coming over to your house. Let's celebrate. He goes, are you living at the same place? I said, no, I moved. Here's my new address. So he comes over to my house. He walks in. He's like, what the fuck happened to your life? You were like broke when I met you. I said, oh, well, I built this new business. I go around the world giving seminars. I'll show you. So I put up on the TV a video of an event where I'm teaching people on stage. And Leo looks at it, his like mouth drops. He's like, holy shit, Marty is going to go crazy when he sees this footage. He sends the footage to Marty. Marty goes bananas, goes through all my videos, and they rewrite the entire third act of the movie and make it into a comeback story. So I think the interesting lesson there is like the original script was amazing, but it ended with me going to jail.
Yeah.
Because that's where my life was at that point. So as bad as the delay was, by taking control of my life and making the best of it, I rebuilt my life again. So when the movie was finally shot, and made it a much better movie,
More
because now it
impactful,
ended with me coming back on Sell Me This Pen at the end. Also, there's commercials in there, like with come to my straight line seminars. That was not in
That's
the first
so
draft.
interesting to me, because the movie, when I look at it, which has a lot of similarities to Goodfellas, but the biggest difference is at the end of Goodfellas, he's a loser and his friends are dead or in jail.
Right.
This movie ends, which I thought was I thought when I walked out, me being like some idiot film critic, I thought Scorsese's genius was that he's making a statement about capitalism. Like, this is what the world is. Go get what you can get, and really the consequences are you go to jail and play tennis for a couple of years, you come back. But that's not what it was. So the ending was supposed to be basically Goodfellas. You're in jail and your life is fucked.
I think that Marty, the genius of Marty, is that he believes in not moralizing to people that watch his movies. He puts characters up on screen and lets you make a decision if you love them or hate them. In other words, what I hate is when someone spoon feeds me morality. When I'm watching a movie, they obviously, the character does something that's so bad because they want you to hate a character. They want you to love a character. So Marty didn't do that. He understands, like, people are complex. Listen, I was a despicable person back then at times and was a wonderful person at times. Good people do bad things. Bad people can do good things. And I think Marty's genius is that he didn't, like, let's have him kill a small dog in the beginning of Act 3 so everyone just hates this guy. We could then get the hatred. Everyone could rally around that. Versus saying that you could love me in one moment, be rooting for me, saying, what do you know? Stop, don't do it. And that's what makes the movie so special. So, and in the end, it was simply, now here's an interesting thing. So they came to me at the movie was done, it was written, but hadn't started shooting. Like, we need an ending. What's the ending going to be? And Leo and I sat down for like a few days going back and forth. I had an idea. I said, hey, I was doing all this charity work in Africa. I go into I was doing seminars in Africa. So I was going into different countries, Zambia. I was in South Africa, the townships. And I created programs, sales and entrepreneurship for the kids, right? And I was doing this I had this great video footage of me empowering all of these kids. I'm like, how about he goes, dude, that's so terrible. It's like so on the nose. Like, come on. You're the Wolf of Wall Street. I'm like, all right, fine. So, like, at the end, the point was, as you said correctly, is like, look, there it goes. He's the ultimate salesperson. He's right back on top again. And here he is teaching other people the same thing. And I think also if you want to look at it from a really empowered point of view, like for a young business person, it's like it shows you the power of being able to influence and persuade. At the end of the day, no matter how great your product is, no matter how great your service is, someone has to sell it to someone else. Without that skill, it can be very difficult to succeed.
So when you see the movie the first time, though, which I know my reaction when I saw it with you, any part of you worry, wow, people are going to hate my guts?
That was the first time. saw it with you for the first time.
Oh, really? That was the first time you saw it?
Because when the movie was first released, privately, I was overseas on a tour. I was on tour speaking, right? I think I was in Italy. And I couldn't attend the initial, like, very private 4 or 5 people. And Alexandra Milchan attended without me because I was away, right? Because you'll see it when you get back. And I'm waiting, like, anxiously for the movie to come out, right? And I think her cut was 4 hours, actually, the original cut, right? We saw a 3-hour cut. And when she gets out. She calls me. I said, so? She's like, I'm out of fucking breath. She goes, I could just tell you two things. Your life is never going to be the same again after this movie comes out. And she goes, I need to watch it again because it's so good. I can't.
Might have missed something.
I've never seen anything like it. And she's a movie person, right? I've never seen anything like this. It's like it's a masterpiece he created.
So no part of you, because now you built your business up and you're now respected as you've made this comeback. No part of you was like, oh my God, this is going to destroy me. People are going to think I'm just disgusting and whatever. That
movie?
Yeah, when you saw it.
Oh. No. I didn't. No, when I saw the movie, I think the weirdest part, and it still is weird for me, is when he says, I'm Jordan Belfort. Like, it's like, it's just every time he says my name, he does like 20 times during the movie.
It feels like somebody is trying to
like,
make sure they don't forget you.
And he kind of looked like me. It's like he acted like me, and like he is really strange, And then I was watching J. Edgar Hoover the other night. And he kind of looked like Hoover. Like Leo is I think people don't realize just how fucking talented Leo is.
I was about to say he's just good.
He's really good.
He's good.
I mean, it's amazing to do that with his face, but what's I've seen the reaction to you when we've been out, and this movie again, which I'm just trying to get a little bit into Scorsese's head. This movie is supposed to be on some level of an indictment of this behavior, but at the end of the day, you become a hero when this movie is over. I've been out with you where people come up to you, shake your hand, want to hug you. They ignore some of the other famous people that we know
right.
and come right to you.
I know, it's weird.
Could you ever have imagined that would happen?
No, not like that. See, I think what happens is that I teach a very powerful system of sales and persuasion. And I think what happens is they watch the movie, and I give a lot away for free. So like they go online, they'll see, and then they have all these things, these lessons I teach about success and it's really pure stuff. There's a lot of hucksters that try to sell shit online. I just never did that. I never ever once sold a business opportunity. It was always about learning. And so I think what they love is that there's actually skill and strategy and that helps them. So some people just love it because it's, oh my God, you're famous. I love it. And other people, like last night, I went out for dinner and some kid who was from England sitting next to me, and he just says, dude, I have to just tell you, you changed my life. Like, I went through your stuff, and like I'm like the top producer. Like, I made $1 million last year. I would have never made this without you. Like, thank you so much.
It's awesome.
So there's so many people like that.
Teaching real shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's real stuff,
And that's why I want to go back to a little bit to the beginning. We've talked about this before, but you're from Queens, you're from a working class neighborhood, and you just obviously were always a good salesman. But you get into this business that I know it personally because I know you, and I had a lot of friends who were at Stratton.
What business? I don't know the business.
Stock market.
Stock market.
market.
And really at the turn of when this became this thing that everybody could kind of be a part of. So a lot of people ask me because they know we're good friends. Do you have guilt? Do you feel bad? Do you this? But I also try to explain the same way society is talking about now about giving people second chances, but also you're a kid at 20 years old, and all of a sudden you enter this world, which I assume in the movie when you go to that first brokerage house, that was real and how it happened.
Course, yeah.
And you go in there and you actually think you're doing a business. I mean, and you're selling and you're feeling good and you're getting a paycheck. So at what point did you go, I've crossed the line?
So there's a couple of times, and I think it's a really good point you're bringing up. But if there's one thing about the movie that I think was slightly off, right? Like, to me, my descent into insanity happened a bit too quickly, even for the screen. Like, I understand it's only a few hours, so you have to, like, show things. But, like, in the movie, I go down to Wall Street, in the Matthew McConaughey character, I'm like Mark Hanna, right? And I'm like this, this nice kid. I'm like him, right?
How close was and I want to get back to this.
Incredibly close. Like, Mark Hanna was this amazing guy.
Funny.
So charismatic and funny.
Right.
Yeah, so charismatic, right? So, and Matthew McConaughey just was...
I mean, it's one of the greatest moments ever. It really is one of the greatest scenes I've ever seen.
It is, So, and I say, hey, well, I'm so happy. Can't we make our clients money too? And he's like, no. and I'm like, because I really thought a broker was supposed to make people money, right? And then he's like, no, it's not what happens. And he goes on this whole tirade about the Ferris wheel, the circus is open 24/7, 365, right? It's really amazing. And then the next scene, I'm in a strip club snorting coke, right? Now, in reality, it took 2 to 3 years to go from that point where I was just sort of like naive do-good kid to
the
like
strip club.
fuck everyone, don't give a shit, like I just want to make money, it's Wall Street, we're here just to rape and pillage, right? That descent took many years, and it was a little bit at a time. And what happens is you don't lose your ethics or morality instantly, at least not me. In my case, it was slowly, insidiously. You're doing everything right, then you do one thing, and we both know the person who taught me that stuff was a mutual friend of ours.
One of my
Barry,
best friends
who passed away, right? About taking a bag of cash from someone. And in that moment, like, I knew it was wrong. But everyone was saying, everyone does this. This is like not you. And it's true. It was true. It doesn't make it right. And I did that. And then I'm doing everything right again. But once you make that first step, your line of morality moves.
Yeah.
So next time you take a step, it's a bit further over the line, and then before you know it, through these tiny, imperceptible steps, you're doing shit you never thought you'd do. You know, you're hanging out with people you never thought you'd associate with, and it all seems perfectly okay. It's like when you go into a piping hot bathtub, you dip your toe, and you're like, fuck, it's so hot.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, you're
Your
submerged.
whole body in.
Perfect.
A
And
slow
why?
burn.
Yeah, it's not because the water cooled off. You got used to it.
Yeah.
And that's really what happened. I got to a point where the abnormal seemed normal. And one of the things that allowed Stratton to be Stratton was we were located in Long Island off Wall Street. So it was a self-contained society. You worked at Stratton. You hung out with people that worked there. They were the people that provided services. So there's the car dealers, the tailors, the printers. It was almost like a whole
All under the same-
ecosystem.
yeah.
under the
And you're helping all those
and
people.
everyone's making so much money. So, and I think the interesting thing, though, is that there's people that made more money than me. Like, you have hedge funds were just getting started then, but ultimately, like, so I was making $50, $100 million in a year, right? Nowadays, there's people that make $1 billion a year, right? But the difference was that even the kids that worked for me, they were making $1 million a year. An average broker made $1 million or more. The secretaries were making $250,000 a year. It was like everything, everyone was making, it was like a gold rush,
Right.
almost, right? And it was this incredible camaraderie and team spirit, and it started off pure. Like, there was no intention to break the law or to lose people money, and that devolved slowly over time to where it became where, like, you know, it's just, you want it. Listen, the truth is you always want to make people money. Why would you want to lose someone money? Because we make the most money I ever made in any deal with Steve Madden shoes, right? That was our IPO, and I own most of the company. So we made more on that one deal than all the others combined because it's a winning deal. You never want to lose a client money,
Right.
but it's really hard to find young entrepreneurs. It's venture capital. So we were doing like public venture capital. So it became very difficult to find good companies. And what I should have done is slowed my growth down. That was my big mistake. But by growing so fast, I had such a huge operation, I needed to do deals. It's like a studio that, you know, why do they put out so many shit movies? Because they have to put something out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if they only had to do one movie, yeah, they could make one great movie, but they have this huge machine they got to feed, this distribution machine, all the overhead that comes along. So they put movie after movie after movie, and a lot of them suck.
I want to go back because what you said was interesting about this kind of society that you're created and it's insular. And even when the movie comes out in 2013, and there was some criticism about the way people talk, the way people this and that. But what I found interesting watching it last night is the women and the men are all as one. It's kind of a group where everybody's not afraid to voice themselves the way they do. And I think now, which I know you and I have talked about it a lot, but the way this small group of people is trying to determine how people can interact with each other and where the hierarchies can be. So women could succeed in your world just as much as the men, correct?
Listen, I think for me, what's odd about the whole thing is my mother is probably one of the most empowered women in the world. Seriously, my mother she's 88 now, but she was a CPA in the 50s in the Mad Men era. You saw Mad Men, right? So in that time period, the way they treated women, she was a CPA and the head of a department at one of the biggest accounting firms in the world, my mother, right? So and then she went back to law school when she was 64, passed the bar at 68, was the oldest woman in New York State to pass the bar, was pro bono lawyer of the year when she was 73 doing charity work for women. So I always had this really, to me, women, it never occurred to me that there was that much oppression and things were unfair, right? And it really was, by the way. She would tell me now like that she had to put up with a lot of shit back then, but she was very smart and she was strong. But in Stratton, it didn't matter. The thing about Stratton was it didn't matter where you came from, what school you went to, the color of your skin. And I still, to this day, say I'm prejudiced. I have some severe prejudices. I am a very prejudiced person. I hate lazy people and stupid people.
Right.
Everyone else I love or hate. I don't care. Like, to me, I'm colorblind like that. I always was. I believe that success and hard work should speak for. So I never judge people. I was never raised that way in my family. That's me, but I know it exists in other parts of the world very badly. But I was in a bubble where it did not exist in my house or where I grew up. It was not like that.
And
at
do
all.
you look at what's happening now? Would Wolf of Wall Street? Do you think they try to change that script right now, 8 years later? Do you think that would be a problem? Some of the stuff that they say.
I don't, and I'll tell you why.
I don't think so either.
I think that you passed on it. When you looked at it, you always say, fuck, what the fuck did I
Damn
think?
it, Doug.
I just need everyone to understand. I just need to address that really quickly. Yes, I could have said I'm going to make it, but that's the biggest budget Scorsese's ever had.
But here's the thing, Doug, okay? You might have gotten crucified if you did it. And because it's Scorsese and Leo, it creates it has some sort of impenetrable cloak around it because Scorsese, it's art. It takes on a different level of art, right? And also because the actions occurred in the past. In other words, so it's going back to a time.
It wasn't present day.
That wasn't present day. And Entourage, where it does get criticism, which it's one of my favorite fucking shows of all time, is a bit too close to the present. In other words, what I did was pre-social media, pre-phone. No one had a smartphone back then with a camera, right? It was a different time, and I think people get that. So it was a combination of Leo, Marty, and it was also just something special about the movie. It was a sometimes it just comes out great. The editor,
and I feel like you couldn't see the story; you had to hear it, just because of the time. Like you said, people did not have all of what they had now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's a moment.
But by Entourage, the cell phones were advanced.
Exactly,
they were a bit advanced.
Let me give you an example. Right, like when I hear about sexual harassment, like you would think that Stratton was the centerpiece. Never happened. That did not occur. If someone would harass a girl, they'd be beaten up by the guys.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. It was like either all for one or one for, like, in other words, if someone was going to be respected, they would totally be respected. But it was just mostly no one wanted to be respected. Everyone was crazy.
Right.
We were all young and doing drugs and wild and crazy, and it was fun. But it was very much probably the most consensual place of madness that you ever found. We had older people. We had people that were 65 years old working there. We had women of all different ages. And no one gave a shit. It was everyone was making money.
That's what I was about to say. I also feel like because it was like an even playing field, there was no reason to be mad. There was no. If you say that the secretaries were making the money that they were making, what the fuck are you nobody had nothing to say.
We should get we should call up my old secretary. We should get her to call phone a friend right now, Mona. All right, we could call right now, and she would tell you that not only was no one, this is a female's perspective, not only was no one harassed or like that, she would say it was like the women, I met her like 5 years ago, she came to an event of mine, and she's like, these women don't know what, like, it was so much fun, it was so amazing, and everyone was so everyone felt respected, they really were respected, and everyone just got paid a lot of money, everyone came in early, stayed late, and had fun on the weekends together. It was like a family, and then it got dark, okay, and that's the problem, and the reason it got really dark was the drugs.
I was about to say,
all right, and the drugs, I'm sober for many, many years now, right? I'm sober since 1997, right? April 17th. So, whenever I have friends that do drugs still, right? Whenever I see drugs heavily involved in any situation, whether it's a marriage, friendship, a business, it never fucking ends well. It doesn't because it's all fun and games, but at some point it will reverse on you. Exactly. And a lot of the behavior was because of drugs. I'm not making an excuse. Oh, I was a drug addict. No, I knew exactly. I was fucking greedy. Okay,
I was like Jonah Hill's character, right?
And that guy is, by the way, is hysterical. By the way, the real guy, Danny, right? But when drugs are involved, it typically ends up going in a very bad direction. And that's kind of when it was a certain point also where I left the firm. And I said, I'm not fucking leaving. Actually, I did leave after that, all right? And I left it in charge of someone else, and they took it in, I think, a much darker direction than I had, which was the FBI agent, who's a friend of mine now. Yeah. He was on my podcast, and he was saying, because there's this whole thing like that I lost poor people money, which was just false. I mean, you were not allowed, unless you were a millionaire, you could not open up an account at my firm, right? And there was this narrative that poor people lost money. I was like, no way. He goes, let me explain what happened. He goes, when you were there for 5 years, it's true. Every account was a millionaire. It was all vetted. After I left, it became like the Wild West, and like they would open up accounts. So I was no longer part of the company, but it did spiral out of control. It's like after you have one person like a drug dealer, and it's like this order in the court when there's a cartel, eliminate the leader, and it's fucking everyone's shooting each other in the street,
Right.
almost like there's madness going on.
But in the movie, they got Rob Reiner playing your father, who I had Marvin the accountant in Entourage, who was based on my father. So we had that similarity. Where were your parents in all this? Were they this nice kind of conservative Jewish family? And what did they think was going on, and how much were they involved?
So my mom, my mom was very conservative, Jewish. My dad, different. So my dad was the most honest, ethical man I've ever met. Never had a speeding ticket in his life, overpaid on his taxes,
Right.
never
So my
broke
father
the law.
did.
Yeah. Both of them were CPAs. My dad was very difficult to work with. So he was not user friendly. He had two personas. We called him Sir Max or Mad Max. And depending on what triggered him, he could be either one. He'd go back and forth in the same conversation. Like he had certain keywords that make him become Sir Max. And Sir Max was like this almost British aristocrat. He had this twang, and like he never was out of fucking the Bronx his whole life. But somehow he adopted like a Ted Knight from Caddyshack. Hello, Judge Smith. He had this great British thing, like hello, yeah. And then so he would set him off. He fucking motherfucking piece of shit. Fucking call my, and of all things, like in the movie, it's true. With the phone, when the phone would ring in our house, he'd go fucking crazy. And this is something that people nowadays don't understand because no one even has phones anymore, right? But back then, someone in their 70s or 80s, they'll tell you like, oh man, some people, they know, when the phone rang, he'd go nuts. My father would lose his shit. And the worst thing is if the call was for him. Or, we'd be all sitting there, right? My dad was always in the same spot in the house. He sat on his chair, in his boxer shorts with his giant stomach hanging over his boxers like South America, right? And like Brazil popping out of his head. And the phone would ring. My mother, would literally jump off and run like a track star to stop the ringing of the phone. Like, I'll get it, Max. Calm down. It's okay. Right? It's like a fucking comedy show, right? All right. And then she'd get the phone. And the worst thing she'd say, Max, it's for you. Because my father was always watching like some fucking cop show, TJ Hooker or the fucking right.
Heather Locklear.
And then the second, who the fucking goddamn call the fucking. My father could curse like fucking T.S. Eliot on steroids. It was beautiful. My father could tie his curses together. It was like art, right? Fucking call a piece of shit, call the fucking house on a goddamn Tuesday, fucking. And he'd get hello, and he'd get this radio, Jimmy. Yes, okay, drink radio. Oh, excellent. Oh, perfecto. Thank you, Bubba. Motherfucking nitwit. Fucking. Then he'd stomp back and become Mad Max again. That was like, and I watched that shit growing up, right?
But was he on you all the time? You're going to get in trouble? Or was he like, I can't believe how successful you are? What were his thoughts?
So what's a bit complex here is that 98% of what I did at Stratton was perfectly legal. You would never know. In other words, like it wasn't like Bernie Madoff where there was no firm there. It was like this was completely. So I was surrounded by lots of professional people that were experts in the market, and they're all watching this happen. And we're a new issue house. We're aggressive, and no doubt an aggressive house. And if you knew the business really, really well, you knew that there was some manipulation in the stocks going on. But it's like almost like compared to what's going on now with crypto, it was nothing, right? My dad didn't know about the stock market. He was a financial guy, so he was the CFO of all things non-stock related. So he didn't know. All he saw was money pouring in, and his job was to pay all the bills, make sure to pay, everything, imagining the financial operations of the company, but not involved in the brokerage side, which is why he never got, when I got in trouble, he never even got in trouble, my father. He was just had nothing to do with the actual In fact, he wasn't even registered. He had a parent company that he actually ran that ran all the finance. It was a holding company, right? And so he didn't know. What he was more concerned about was the drug use. Right. Like as that started to spiral out of control. But the thing was, my dad, I had this, like as you see in the movie, it's very accurate. I had this ability to speak really well publicly, especially when it's about motivation and sales. So like my dad would watch as I would speak to like 1,000. I gave 2 meetings a day, in the morning at 9 o'clock and then another one at 5 after the market closed. And my dad's in the back and I'm like, he's watching his son speak and he's like, so he's almost he's drinking the Kool-Aid himself,
right.
like, you know, and so he didn't know. Like, he didn't know anything was really going on that was illegal in terms of the stocks. He just thought that the drug use. But he used to always say, you guys are going to, you know, he had these crazy expressions like, you know, you can get your caught in a ringer, whatever the fuck that means.
Right,
Like, you
right.
know, he came from a different generation.
And when you got arrested, though, what was your parents' reaction to
They
it?
could not have been more supportive.
Right.
They just supported me fully, and they were amazing. I mean, they were obviously upset about it, but not in the sense that, oh, well, how could you have done this? They were like, all right, you know, how do we help you get through it?
And what the movie doesn't show. So tell us, what was jail experience like? In the movie, it looks like you're having a good time playing tennis. What was it really like, and did it make you go, I never want to go back?
I was having a good time playing tennis, but no. But just jail sucks. Okay, I was in a camp. It wasn't like I was getting butt fucked by Bubba in the shower.
This is
It wasn't
federal,
like that.
though, right?
Okay, this is
Federal.
federal prison,
A federal camp, yeah.
Right, exactly. So
It's not prison, not a penitentiary.
No, it's a very
know.
different.
It's not like
place.
Goodfellas, you're cutting up
No,
garlic
it's
with a
not.
razor or what?
Well, it's like that, but there's not like in other words, it's not like it's nothing like what you saw in Goodfellas, because that's a very, you know, there's people being murdered there. These are financial, nonviolent crimes
Blue or white collar crime.
white collar in a short sentence, you know. So when you have it goes by a point system, and I had very low points because first time offender, no violence, no gun
Non-violent.
charges, right? So they put you in a camp. There's no bars, there's no walls, there's no fence. You could just people walk
It's almost
away.
like a campus.
Basically, people
Yeah.
will play sports all day. It wasn't bad, but it's jail, and jail sucks. Like, you know, you're surrounded by all the losers. When I say losers, I mean people that lost the game of life. Like, you know, your freedom is taken away, your money is gone, and you're basically surrounded by other people who, like, you know, society says are the losers of society, and so it's terrible. So I think the worst part is what that could do to you psychologically, right? And for me, you know, I got lucky that when I went to this prison camp, it was Taft. Who's my bunkmate is Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong.
That was your bunkmate? I don't even know that.
That's my bunkmate.
That's amazing.
They put us together because we were both high profile. So they put us in the same cube. We had a little cube together, and that was how I started writing. So Tommy was writing a book, and I would tell him stories at night, and I would just have him rolling on the floor. You know, how I did
Right.
this, and he'd just be rolling on the floor, right? The third night together, he's like, you know, honestly, I thought you were full of shit. You know, but my wife Googled you, and all of this is true. It's like actually reported stuff. He goes, you have to write a book about this. It'll be amazing. I'm like, really? I'm like, you think my life was crazy? He goes, I'm Tommy Chong, and I think your life was fucking crazy, right? So
That's amazing.
that was how I started.
Were you
writing.
sober when you went to jail?
Yeah, I was sober for 6 years.
Before jail?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you're lucky because that would.
I got sober in 97 and in April 97.
Tommy wasn't getting some weed into the prison?
No, he wasn't back then. But Tommy was there for selling bongs on the internet.
Jesus.
Not even pot, believe it or not. It was the
that's insane.
stupidest, the
Paraphernalia.
dumbest fucking. I mean, the fact they put him
I
in
didn't even know
jail,
that's a law. It's a piece of glass. How is that?
because he's selling it across state lines. It was so stupid. And he took the fall for his son because his son owned the company, and it's just really it was the whole thing just stupid, right? He didn't belong there. He got a year and a day, and the reason they give you a day is because if you have under a year, you can't get good time. So it's actually a year and a day is better than 11 months and 29 days. So he got a year and a day, and I was like, fuck, if this guy got a year and a day for what he did, I deserve 3 centuries for what I did. But the truth is he didn't deserve any time. So
What was your sentence?
mine was it was 48 months,
Oh, that's not
but
bad.
it got reduced because I went through what's called the drug program.
Yeah.
And with good time, so I ended up doing 22 months. Yeah, I did 22 months, and it was during that time when I didn't write the book. I learned how to write, so I was trying to write and failing miserably, and then ultimately after like a month of it, I would show Tommy my pages. I said, "What do you think?" He goes, "They really suck." I'm like, "Thanks, Tommy. Tell me what you really think," you know. And then I just couldn't write, and then I stumbled upon this book in the prison library, Bonfire of the Vanities, and
Tom Wolfe.
And as soon as I started reading this book, I'm like, oh my God, I want to write like this. And I literally took out a yellow highlighter And I used this book like a textbook, and I studied it like for 3 months straight. And I just started like analyzing how he introduces characters, how he describes locations, how he creates conflicts, and all the language patterns. And I used it literally like my Bible, and I taught myself to write by reading
That's
this
amazing.
book.
You had nothing but time.
Yeah, and nothing but time.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Breezy wants me to write more. I got to go to jail, Breezy.
Right.
Then I'll write a new script.
I'll tell you what, but and it's interesting. Here's the great part, though, is that I look back at moments in my life where like that were really pivotal. And another pivotal moment was I almost got a reduction in my sentence for another year off. It was right before Christmas, 2004. It was November, and they had some motion they were going to make to reduce my sentence by a year, and I was going to be out for Christmas time, right? And my lawyer's like, it's a shoo-in. Even the U.S. attorney signed off on it, all right, because I had done a few months before, and it was a whole. So I was there I had 2 different sentences. One of them was because I was cooperating with the government, right? Supposedly I was a rat, but I was not your average rat. I slipped a note to my friend. Like I was giving information, but when they asked me to rat my friend out, I wouldn't do it, and I alerted my friend. I gave him like a note saying, don't rat me, don't talk to me. I'm wired. Because I wouldn't rat my friend out, right? Like I was okay. I was like, you want information? Fine. I'll on the whole thing, fine. I'll tell you about people, but not my friend. I drew a moral line there, right? Yeah. But you can't do that. It's like if you're gonna cooperate, that's like not allowed, right? So I was out for dinner with my friend. I slipped him a note saying, "Don't incriminate."
Which is in the movie.
It's in the movie, right? But it wasn't the Jonah Hill character. It was someone else actually. Right. But anyway, and I slipped him the note, and then six months later, and I felt great about that. Like I'm a good stand-up guy. I'm not a rat. 6 months later, he got in trouble with something else, and he turned me in, and he reported me.
Oh shit!
And they put me in jail. I got put back in jail. It was literally at that moment. So I had pled guilty to all this shit, and I was facing they were going to break my agreement. So I was going to get 25 years because of this note. And the FBI agent, Agent Coleman, stood up for me. He's like, no, you can't do that to him. It's, he was his friend. Like, he understood it wasn't like a selfish thing I did. And he stood up for me, and the FBI agent stopped me from getting sentenced to 25 years in prison. He's still a very good friend of mine to this day. He's an amazing guy. And so I got sentenced, but I took a count for lying to a federal officer. So I had 2 counts running. So I was going to get a reduction, and everyone thought I was going to get it. And the judge rejected it. Goes, no, he should get 20. He's got to do his 24 months. And I was fucking devastated. Now I'm in jail. I'm now facing another year. Now at this point,
it was 24 months, not 25 years.
20, yeah, but I thought I was going to be out. I was already in jail when they were making a motion for a further reduction. I thought I was going to get it. Right. And then when I didn't get it, it was like this devastating moment where like I thought I'd be home next week to see my kids. Yeah. And instead I had another year. It's a long time when you're in jail, a year. Yeah. It feels like a long time, right? And when the rejection came through, they alert the prison because people sometimes will try to escape or they'll go crazy. So I get called in to see the prison counselor. She goes, listen, you all right? Are you feeling okay?
Kill yourself?
Yeah, you do. I know you got. I know you're upset that they rejected your motion. I'm like, I'm pretty upset, but what am I going to do? I'll just have to, wait it out. She goes, well, listen, God has got a way of just, of sometimes giving us what we need. And she goes, is there anything that you think that you haven't? Is there anything unfinished business you have here? Anything that you haven't really done? I'm like, well, I was going to write a book, but I kind of had given up on it. She goes, well, that's it. She goes, you got to write this book. That's what God is telling you right now. Write this book. I'm like, you think? She goes, just write this, just put your head down and use this year. And I literally put my head down and I started writing the book and literally got the first 100 pages done.
By hand.
Yeah. Okay? And that was when I really taught myself. Like all that before I was teaching myself and I finally cracked the code in that year. And I had 110, 120 pages. I showed them to a few people in the prison. They were like, oh my God. And then I ripped them up. All right, I ripped them up because I didn't think they were good enough. When you're a writer, you always think it's not good enough, right?
Oh, I know.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Right. So I ripped them up. All right. Anyway, and I left jail with nothing, no pages. All right. I came back home and I had no business. If I had a business before, it was shut down, right? And I said, what should I do? So let me try to write again. And I started writing, and I wrote 10 pages, and I'm like, wow, those seem like really. I thought they were really good, And I was like, I sent them to a couple people. They were like, oh my God, they're amazing.
Keep going.
Sent them to an agent, Joel Gottler here, and Joel read these first 10 pages. Like, called me, goes, did you pay Tom Wolfe to write those? He thought Tom Wolfe had wrote the page. It was that close to Tom Wolfe, right? And that's how it really started. So that's an amazing, I think, a lesson that, sometimes, you have these things that happen and things don't go your way. And, you have to just make a decision. You're going to live in the problem or find the solution, at least make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
Do
That's amazing.
you have any water by any chance or anything?
We got any water?
No, we gave you pasta.
Pasta's all I get, yeah.
Yeah.
And salt. Salt, pasta, I get no.
We'll get some water.
I like if there's a Red Bull, I'll take that. If there's no Red Bull, I'll take Red Bull, possible. If not Red Bull, I'll take water.
No Quaaludes.
Breezy's torture. No, there's no water here. Now answer the next question.
No Quaaludes.
If you want
George,
water,
right?
no Quaaludes.
We have Quaaludes here.
I'll take one if you have it.
So Jordan, all right, before the water's coming in, we're gonna let you go anyway. But just some aspirational, crazy shit. Give us some nutty stories. What's the realistic? What's the most money you ever spent in a day on what? What was the craziest purchase you ever made?
The craziest thing I did, it was my bachelor party, where I spent a couple of $1 million in one night. It was really 2 nights, and we flew, 100 Strat nights, an equal number of hookers to the Mirage, and we just literally tore. It was like literally Sodom and Gomorrah on the 12th floor of the Mirage, and it was just insane. And we spent a couple $1 million and had to pay more because we wrecked the place basically, and that was like probably the most I ever spent in one moment, like a couple $1 million, right? But then I would say, if you want to say the most insane purchase I made,
I'm gonna just the fact that we got
wait,
we got
the
Kevin
water boy.
Connolly
Oh,
bringing
wait,
the water. The
excuse me.
pizza boy is now the
Pi-
water boy. It's
pizza boy.
amazing.
Look at this.
Oh,
This is
hey,
fuck-
look at this.
and I got Kevin Connolly.
I'm scared he spiked mine though. God knows what's in here.
I am now.
Thank you, Kevin.
I got Kevin Connolly bringing me fucking water. I have arrived. Now
You have really arrived.
buddy, pull my car. He's gonna pull an Ari. Fuck you, Ari. Right?
That was great. I mean, it felt like a setup, but it wasn't. It's
didn't
all
realize-
hands on deck in Action Park.
I didn't realize it was him. I'm like, what the fuck's? I'm fucking Kevin. Holy shit, right? Anyway, so but the craziest purchase I made, I think, right, besides the yacht and everything, right, was Christmas time, 1990. I think it was 2 or 3. We just made a fortune in some deal, and I was wanting to reward Danny, the Jonah Hill character. I bought him a brand new Bentley, a Rolls Royce Corniche convertible, right? It was like $300,000 back then, right? And I wanted to buy myself yet another car, so I found some Aston Martin Virage for like $250,000. And I spent another $150,000 turning it into a James Bond car. And I had them install all this shit, nail drop boxes, oil slick, tear gas canisters, like a strobe light on the license plate, that like all this crazy countermeasures shit, like drop box for nails. It was so fucking awesome, right? And I had that installed. The only problem was it drained the battery. The fucking car never worked. If I drive 2 miles, the car would shut off, But sometimes when I was really in my worst moments, like I was high as a kite on ludes, I'd be driving. We dropped the nail box. We dropped the nails on the fucking thing.
So funny.
That was probably my stupidest purchase.
And Jordan, before you go, I got to take my one of my closest friends who also was arrested and had some troubles with this stuff, and unfortunately has passed away. But what I found, and Jordan, knowing you a long time, Barry Gesser, who is really like an uncle to my children, and he was a guy that really helped you when you got out. You got out of jail. You had nothing, and
he let me $700,000
on like a quick with a handshake, basically.
Handshake, yes. Let me $700,000, and I paid him back $1 million even though he didn't ask for it. I doubled his money, even though he just wanted his money back.
Right.
He was like, he's passed away right now. He was. What a crazy fucking bastard. What a nice, he's such a nice, lovable, but crazy motherfucker.
But that's the funny thing, because when I look back at my childhood, Barry, he was the first guy in the neighborhood with a Mercedes, and he was 18. And all the parents were looking at him like, what does this guy do?
What did he do?
Well, he did what Jordan did, which is
he's
stocks.
one of my first mentors. Like when I got into the business, I knew nothing about the stock market. When I opened up my firm, I was a great salesman of stocks, but didn't quite understand how the stocks traded.
Yeah.
And Barry gave me an initial education, and he was an incredibly brilliant guy.
Yeah.
Very, very smart.
Yeah.
The most skeptical guy that you ever met. Like he was a short seller. I mean, he was always betting that stocks would go down, and also his own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Complex
is this
man.
stuff in the stock market still happening? Like
Oh my
the
God!
same
Well,
stuff?
for example, this far worse now. It's really yes, it's happening in the stock market, but in the crypto market, there's a new world, right?
Yeah, yeah, of
Cryptocurrency and blockchain, right? And if you look at blockchain, it's like imagine like when you're laying down the railroad tracks in the 1800s. That's what blockchain really is right now. It's just this incredible. It's the future of finance for sure, and everyone right now is rushing to lay down track, and people don't even know what's going to exist on the other side of the tracks in some respect. Like when they built the tracks, we didn't really know that all these towns would pop up and all these stores and all these goods and services. So right now, everyone's laying down the track, and some of the smartest, hardest working, and greatest people are actively involved, making a lot of money at it, but also creating massive value. And then there's all the hucksters and charlatans that are also doing it as a cash grab, and there's a massive amount of that right now because there's no regulation, which baffles me. The SEC and the government needs to regulate this badly, because if they do, more money will flow in, and it'll be great for this industry, and it will legitimize it even more. So, I believe it's the future. I'm heavily involved in it. I'm very careful with what I do.
But it's it's somewhat similar when you guys start in the stock market, 82, 83?
Yeah.
Of course, stock market's there for 50, 75 years before that, but it's all of a sudden this gold rush where all these people who have good mouths are able to get on the phone and make money, and I think everybody was learning it and shaking it out. And now I think Breezy asked a good question. What's going on now, forgetting just crypto, even in the stock market with the hedge funds, don't you think some of these guys have done far worse than what you do? And they get caught, they pay a fine, and nothing happens.
I think the worst offender of any company out there is Goldman Sachs. They but what they do with Goldman is that it's compartmentalized. Like, they have a million different divisions and employees, and there's every great crime somehow their finger is in it. That doesn't mean they're all criminals. They're not. They do a lot of great stuff as well. But the problem is that when you have a system like the current system on Wall Street, it's so heavily stacked against the average investor. It is. And crypto is not like that as much. It's really not. So while there's a lot of fraud in crypto, if you find the right companies, there's so much of a fairer play. In my opinion, it's much fairer, level playing field than Wall Street. And that's why people are flocking to it, because everyone intuitively knows there's something wrong on Wall Street. Like the big guys are always making all the money. The little guys are getting squeezed out. And crypto on some level is the great equalizer. It allows, it's this decentralized wonderland out there. And if you really know what you're doing, and you're careful and you get involved with the right people and, avoid the hucksters, it's pretty easy, honestly. If you really do your research, you can make a bloody fortune and be part of something amazing. It's like it's really this, they call it Web3. What that really means is that it's this next evolution of where it's empowering the individual, the creator, to really, like for you, like where you don't need an agent anymore or a studio. You could not have done this. You only had one path to doing what you did. I'll have to sell a movie to a studio you don't need that. Now you have things like YouTube, right? And social media. But this is the next evolution of that, where it's even more empowering to the creator. So I think it's amazing.
I feel like everybody's doing it. Everybody.
They are.
And it's a bubble. It's a bubble too, but that's
some people
okay.
get killed, and
that's
some people
okay.
get
But
really
bubbles are natural. But there's nothing wrong with bubbles. Bubbles happen. You have to, And what happens if you remember, like in the bubble of 1999, in the .com bubble? Well, what came out of that? Amazon.
Yeah.
Now, you have big winners. Many companies, amazing companies. Yeah. So the good ones survive. The ones that never should have started will perish.
Yeah.
But I think that this is something that everyone needs to take a look at. And start dabbling in very small at first, so you want to be careful with it. But I think it's the future for sure.
Yeah.
I'm trusting you.
Yeah, we'll get in. Jordan, you're going to make us some money after this. But Jordan, we can't thank you enough for coming in.
My pleasure.
You got a big announcement coming up this week.
Yeah, there's a docuseries coming out. I sold the rights. I can't say to who, but the director is just like the top director out there for docuseries, and it's going to be amazing. I'm super excited about it. So hopefully, your people will hear about this very, very soon.
I love
I'm excited.
Well, Jordan, thank you for coming in. I'm going to take you to Olivetta. We're going to have Michael Fiorioli cook us a real fresh meal, and you're the best, man. I appreciate
Why
it.
didn't he fucking invite me?
Breezy.
Of course you're invited.
No,
You're invited everywhere.
I mean,
I gotta tell you, Breezy.
Foxman also.
It's my first time meeting you, Breezy, but you're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you,
great.
Jordan.
You
Fuck
enhanced
Doug.
the Doug Ellen so much. A great combination.
He didn't invite me.
You're always invited.
I'm not fucking leaving.
I love it. All right. We will be back. Welcome back, Hollywood Wayz.
Yes.
What'd you think of Jordan?
Loved him.
Yeah, and
Loved
Ted,
him.
what'd you think? I mean,
I love how open he is.
I feel like I could just talk to that guy for 8 hours straight, not get bored, listen to
agree.
all his stories. I'm not even sure if I would say anything during the conversation.
I want to meet his dad.
and what'd you
Yeah.
think, Breezy?
I never felt a way anyway.
Yeah.
I totally believe what he said. I mean, good people sometimes do bad things, and bad people can also do good things. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
And also,
It
wouldn't you like
happens-
to make 50 to 100 million when you're 22 years
Right,
old?
but
I
it
mean,
happens to
year.
most of us. It happens to most of us.
50 to 100 million?
No. just honestly doing things where it's the first move of the needle. You
Yep.
know, we've all done things like that. The only difference is some of us get caught, some of us don't.
Yeah, I think that's the thing to take out of it. And, like I said, I have a lot of friends before they meet Jordan, they go, oh, he's a scumbag. He's this. He's not. He's a guy who made some mistakes when he was young, who was in a position that I think all of us, we don't know how we would have reacted if it happened to us. And I thought it was a really interesting conversation.
I thought it would be interesting to know if there was no laws to deem what he did a crime, then what would people say about him?
yeah.
Greatest motherfucker on earth.
Yeah,
Well, and
yeah.
but I also do think, he laid on a lot about the fact that he's using drugs. Everybody around him is using drugs, and nothing
Yeah.
good happens when you're
When
doing
you're
that.
doing drugs, yep.
Not
Except
he didn't
one
make an
Quaalude.
excuse.
You can have a good time with one Quaalude. That's it. though.
Now you're encouraging people.
They don't
No
exist.
Quaaludes.
You can't
Our
get them.
next segment of Quaalude Confessions.
There's no other drug that I would
Starring
recommend
Doug
besides a little.
Ellen.
You know what? I just gotta. This year I got into edibles, and before we say goodbye, I just gotta give a little talk about Breezy and I and Ted came down with us. We did Be Real's podcast. What? So
AKA the Up in Smoke tour.
anyone who can. By the way, do you know who Tommy Chong is? Who Jordan was talking about?
Yeah.
Cheech and Chong.
Cheech and
Okay.
Chong,
The fact
yeah.
that he was in jail with Tommy Chong is
that was nuts.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's worth going
Did
to
you
jail
ever,
for.
Did you know that before?
I probably did. I'm old and I'm forgetting a lot of shit. There's no way I didn't because A, I
edibles
read the
It's the
book. and
edibles.
B, he's a
Quaalude
close
ate
friend.
away at your brain.
Quaalude mixture.
But I got to talk about this experience we had before we go on Be Real from Cypress Hills podcast. 3 guys, Breezy and I. Ted was like sort of off to the side, but it was an enclosed room. This was not a COVID-friendly room, A. But B, they smoked 20 joints between them in an hour.
Yep.
So what'd you think about that?
That's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm honestly, I would, of course we got the heads up, but I would never put myself in that situation, like, because I don't like it. Weed smoke is one thing I don't like. I don't want to smell it. I think it stinks. It burns my throat, burns my nose, and it's just pointless.
By the way, I love those guys and had a good time with them, but I had a migraine headache for like a day and a half after that.
like I told you, the day did not go well after that.
I think I couldn't stop laughing for about an hour and a half on the way
Yes,
home.
and I felt like I was thinking to myself, like, am I saying dumb shit? Like, am I just laughing for no reason? And you're like, oh, I think Breezy's high. Like,
Is there any way we didn't? And by the way, so just so you know, Breezy, myself, and Ted did not take one hit of a joint, not because we were against it. I was driving, Ted was driving, but I felt like I was high. And they say contact high or secondhand smoke really doesn't get. There's no way we weren't high.
Yeah, I
Right.
can't say for sure, but
'Cause
there
if we
was
shut
some
out the
effect,
oxygen in
because
the
even
room.
out in the parking lot as we were talking, I couldn't keep a thought for about 10 seconds straight. I would
Yeah.
lose it right in the middle of the
I
sentence.
definitely think it had some effect. To what
I-
degree, I don't know, but it definitely shifted the
I
needle.
can't
I
tell
don't
you what
appreciate
happened.
it. I felt violated.
All I know is I drove straight to Carney's on Sunset, the train. I got 3 hamburgers and 2 large fries and a hot
Does that
dog.
mean anything?
I don't know what that meant.
Is
but,
that the munchies?
But Be Real is a cool ass dude.
They
though.
were all cool.
They were all cool. But
Yeah.
Be Real, he's got this vibe. He was kind of like, I honestly, I swear to you, I don't know what we talked about, but I couldn't take my eyes off of him, and his voice was like kind of mesmerizing.
Yeah,
I
he's
was
like a
just
shaman.
Were you a
Yeah.
fan?
Yeah, I am a fan. And
Of Cypress Hill?
Scott Kahn is one of my best friends.
Here is something you can't understand.
Scott Kahn from Hawaii Five-0 and Entourage fame and a lot of other things. He was on tour with Cypress Hill 15, 20 years ago because he was in a little hip-hop group. How cool is that?
Wow.
Yeah, but I was a fan, and I am a fan. I'm more of a fan. What I'm not a fan of, and I will never put myself in that position again. Never, ever, ever. Yeah, no, I'm serious. I don't like it. It's not about the smoking
dying.
pot. I don't want to ingest that much of any. I don't want to ingest that much pizza sauce. Like I couldn't.
It
I
was
couldn't breathe.
excessive. Yeah, it was excessive.
But I did have a good time, and I'm glad we shared that together. So anyway, we're going to go to Olivetta, where Chef Michael Fiorelli is going to make us a fresh bolognese.
Isima, he has a grilled lamb rib. It will literally change your world.
The
right.
way Ted talks
Yeah,
about food.
yeah. Yeah, he talks about the way Be Real talks about weed. So
Yes.
anyway, we're going to go eat together. We'll take some pictures of it. We'll send you. Hopefully you had a good time with this. Jordan, thank you again. Belfort, Wolf of
Yes,
Wall
sir.
Street. The documentary is coming soon. It's going to be amazing. And
Hollywood Wayz.
You are now tuned in to Hollywood Wayz with Doug and Breezy. Oh, hey Ted.